All right, what's up, everybody? We're back. I'm P. That's C. We're the Dweebs. And C, just because of the episode today,
Okay.
tell me a villain that you feel like you most relate to.
Oh,
So
yeah.
whether that's like someone you see yourself in, maybe you understand, or just a villain that you feel like I guess kind of that I don't want to say this, but in another world you could see yourself being that villain, maybe based on their motivations, whatever it is.
Um, that's a tough one. Okay. Just off the top of my head, the only villain, because obviously we've been brainstorming a lot of villains. I'm gonna say Vulture, actually.
Okay, what?
Um,
Dude, that's so random.
so random,
What?
but
Because
just
if
because,
someone dates your daughter or messes with your daughter, you're gonna want to
yeah,
kill him.
definitely. But just, I mean, all his motivation is just for his family.
Okay.
It's what he's willing to do for the family. He also feels like a smaller guy. Feels like, you know,
Smaller guy. What do you mean by that?
like in the movie, it starts with like the Avengers just blowing up the whole city and his almost everything he's working for getting ruined, or
Mm.
like just
He's
always
the
getting
small guy.
overlapped. Yeah, the smaller guy,
Yeah.
always getting kind of overlooked. So
Mm.
I guess if I had to relate to a villain, I guess I'd pick Vulture.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you were right. That was a tough question.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, my name's Connor. That's Preston. What are we getting into today?
Well, obviously, like we were just talking about, we're gonna keep the top tens, top fives rolling today. Well, we actually had in one of our comments,
Mhm.
of which video was that?
That was our second podcast.
Okay, so in our second episode, someone said we should do like our top five fictional villains.
Shout
So
out Mikey.
yeah, so shout out to Mikey Cables, thank you for that. And instead, we decided instead of doing just a top five, we're gonna take it a step further. We're gonna do our top 10 villains of all time. And I know Connor says every episode like how hard the list was, but for me personally, this list definitely took me the longest time. It's hard. It's probably not exact to what I really It's probably gonna change on a day to day basis,
Yeah.
but hey, yeah, if it's an awesome one. Who doesn't love a good villain? And we're gonna get it popping.
Yeah.
So
Get into it.
yeah, you want me to kick it off?
Yeah,
You
go
got
for
it.
it. You go for it.
Okay, so we're doing our top 10. We're gonna do two honorable mentions as always, just because sometimes we don't even plan on it, but then we make the list right, bro. We can't leave these people out.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 12, I have Cell from
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z.
He's not on
Not
there,
not in there. No.
unfortunately.
So honestly, this is more of just like a favorite pick for me.
Mhm.
I like well, first of all, I like how he looks. He looks like a beast, especially when he gets to his final form. But Cell is just he's a villain from Dragon Ball Z, obviously. That he's called Cell because he's like an android, so he's like a robot. He doesn't really look like a robot though, so if you don't know the villain, that doesn't describe him well. But he has like pieces of every type of like race and fighter and stuff like that. So he's like a combination of everyone. And then he ends up absorbing other androids to get to like this final perfected form, and then he literally like sets up a tournament and fights like all the best fighters like Goku, everyone. So yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to that. It's like I like how he talks.
Yeah.
He's very like cocky. He's funny, and he's like obviously like a beast. And he has like a lot of the same moves as like Goku and stuff like that. Like he literally has a Kamehameha as one of his like moves and stuff. So I don't since he's just an honorable mention, I don't want to talk too much about him. But if you watch through Dragon Ball Z, he'll definitely be one of your top favorite like villains.
For sure. He reminds me of as you were talking about that, he kind of reminds me of like a not really, but like a villain Goku, just because he
He
seems like the type to want to face people at their
Yeah,
strongest.
definitely. He wants to let everyone. He does. He actually lets everyone power up and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But the cool part is too, like, as like that's like the nice. He does that to like let people power up. He's still very like ruthless. Like especially when he starts
Yeah.
to feel like he might be losing, he starts to like turn it up a notch and like he just
Mhm.
goes crazy. So yeah,
For sure.
honorable mention number 12. I guess so.
Yeah, this is gonna shock a lot of people that he's so low on my list.
Oh.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough, but honestly, I only included him because of how iconic he is. I got Darth Vader for my first honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry everyone.
You have a Star Wars shirt on.
Yeah. See, I just wasn't that. I didn't get into the OGs that much, so I can't put them high on the list just because it would not feel like me.
Yeah.
But I have to put him on the list because one, his backstory. I do love Anakin, so I don't really consider them the same because he's not really Darth Vader until the very end. so I don't want to base it on that.
Yeah.
He's not really a villain in the prequels all the
Sure.
way until the end.
Yeah.
But his backstory is one of the most developed out of anybody on this list. Um, and honestly, I think about like the Rogue One scene and like some of his most iconic moments. So yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah.
I'll drop the A bomb for him because
Oh.
yeah,
Well, don't get too crazy now.
yeah. But I had to include him just because I didn't want to not include him on my list. But he's not higher up just because for me, he doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty
not
much
one of
it.
your favorites. I mean, it is your personal favorite, so
Yeah,
I can't blame you. I understand. I felt that vibe sometimes of
yeah,
like how much you put them on there just because everyone else thinks they're
yeah.
so iconic and stuff compared to like how you actually feel. So
I
I
just realized I forgot someone else, but oh well, we'll keep
it
going.
happens, dude. There's so many villains, guys. It's hard not to remember. So okay, so I'm on to my second honorable mention, number
Yep.
11. This is gonna be one you may not know much about. Um, Someone was talking to us about one of our other lists, and they mentioned that I had like for like the favorite movies of all time. Gladiator was one that was on there,
Mm.
or one that they talked about that we didn't have on our list, which is true. I love the movie Gladiator. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I just hadn't seen it in such a long time. It's hard not to have the recency bias with it. But anyways, for my number 11, I put Emperor Commodus from
Okay.
Gladiator.
Yeah, I know nothing about
No,
that.
so I mean, basically the story behind it is his dad is like the emperor, and then there's the general of the army, which is obviously like the main character. Marcus Decimus Aurelius, father to him, all that
Yep.
stuff. That he's like the main character. He's the general of like the army. And so the emperor, is about to die, and so he's about to name like who's gonna. Like, you would think that his son would be the next up, but his son is like obviously like a terrible person, and he knows it, so he doesn't want to pass his throne to him. So he actually like decides he wants to make his general the next emperor. Somehow the son hears about it. I forget how, but he goes in and murders his father, and then throughout the story, like he uh I think he I don't remember if he tries to kill like Marcus Aurelius or whatever. I don't know if he tries to kill him, but he obviously ends up killing his whole
Mhm.
family. Marcus Aurelius becomes a gladiator and like shows back up, and then it's just crazy. I think what really did it for me was yeah, he's it's just one of those terrible villains that you want to fail so bad, but even in the end of the movie, spoiler alert, well, sorry to you too, because if you don't remember, it's kind of ruining a good ending for you. But
Yeah, no worries. I won't remember it.
yeah,
It's
but
okay.
in the end, he like everyone starts to hear about the story. He basically goes to fight him in the like as a gladiator. It's this big spectacle they're putting on. It's
Okay.
gonna be the Emperor versus Marcus Aurelius
That's
in the in
crazy.
the in the arena. But as they're like going in, he like stabs Marcus Aurelius and like basically almost kills him before they even go into the fight, so that he has no chance of losing. Obviously, he still loses and dies, but Marcus Aurelius still dies too, even though he wins the fight in the end. So even in that movie, when you get the big payoff and Marcus Aurelius wins the fight, because of Emperor Commodus, because of him like being such a terrible person, it doesn't fully get paid off because your favorite character still
So he's
dies.
a good villain
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
that.
exactly. He's a great villain.
I've
So
heard lots of good things about
it's
him.
a great movie, and yeah, so he is a good villain, and it's something that sparked when I heard that comment.
For
So
sure. No, that's a good one. I also have one that you're not going to know anything about really.
really,
Well,
he's
you
gonna be from Rick and Morty or something.
no. My second honorable mention is the yellow-eyed demon from Supernatural, season 1 and
Ooh,
season 2.
what do you mean I don't know? I've
I mean,
seen it. I just don't remember.
exactly.
Fair.
um so I can't say I mean the best thing about this villain as I was thinking about it was the fact that like he drives the first 2 seasons of the show without even being really in it.
Mm,
You want to like so pretty much what it is, spoiler alert, is he ends up not really, but like in the very beginning of the show he kills Mary Winchester and he kills Sam's girlfriend, and
mm,
that's what like sparks their whole adventure of their going for revenge.
right.
And I saw a clip the other day of him like possessing their dad after they first like see their dad again for a long time, and
Mm,
he's just such a like the emotion I remember having when I saw that. You were just like, oh my god, I can't believe like we're finally seeing him like 2 full seasons, like, and you finally see him, and then comes in person, and like the season 2 finale when they end up like killing him after he like took Sam to the town of people like with all those sidekicks and like put Sam through that, and like yeah, like I said, the best part about him was like he just drove the first 2 seasons of the show, and like little hints of them getting closer to finding him was just so interesting, and it's what drove me into watching like majority of Supernatural. So yeah, had to
I was
include
gonna
him
say that it hooked you so much it literally got you to stick around for
for so so
how
so
many
long. I
seasons is
will
there?
like 14.
Oh,
Like I will say this, I haven't seen the last season. I need to watch it, but it's one of the things that I stopped watching for a little bit, and now I don't really remember what was going on, so
that
it's hard to get
sucks.
back into.
That's the worst.
But I still have avoided all spoilers because I know eventually I need to watch it just because I committed so much of my life
Yeah, you
to
gotta
it that
see
I
it.
have to finish it at some point.
Got to.
But yeah, had to shout him out of the whole show. Definitely my favorite villain, just because it like I mean he's the one who like got them started on their journey anyway.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay, so my
Kick,
what's
kicking off the top 10,
yeah
right?
kicking off the top 10. Yeah, so my first person on the top 10, pretty similar. Funny they're right back to back, but not necessarily similar people. Definitely not similar people, but time periods. Anyways, probably should just say it. I got Marcus Crassus from Spartacus,
Ah, that's such a good one.
number 10.
Such a good one.
So the reason I like Marcus Crassus is that feel like he's a great counterbalance to Spartacus. Spartacus comes from nothing. He's leading this rebellion of gladiators and stuff like that. And Marcus Crassus is like the leader of like the Roman legions that are coming to like crush the rebellion. And so when you think about the two, you'd imagine one is like a Roman general, so he's gonna be like stuck up, rich, whatever. And then there's like this, hard headed, rebellious thing. But Marcus Crassus has that dog in him,
Yeah,
if you
he
know what I
does.
mean.
Of course.
He's not the type of like leader and stuff that you're gonna. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna mention that too. But yeah, he's not the type of leader that you'd imagine the position he's in, and he respects Spartacus a lot. I think that's what I like. He
Yeah.
admires Spartacus. Like, I mean, how could you not? He's like this gladiator, like I said, came from nothing and created this rebellion that's actually like forcing Rome to like send out like legions to try to defeat them, and they're like about to march on Rome and stuff like that. And yeah, that like the way he respects it and like appreciates that, and then yeah, he's smart, he's witty, he's always like he's enjoying the challenge of trying to outsmart Spartacus because
Yeah.
no one else could. And then on top of that, there's this scene where Marcus Crassus is training with like a gladiator, like fighting, like he's trying to be ready in case he has to fight.
Yep.
And at some point he gets like disarmed during the fight, so he just has his hands, and the dude goes to like stab him, and he like moves out of the way, grabs the gladiator's sword, and then pulls it out. Like so, basically he like cuts his hands up, but it's kind of like a savage move. He grabs it and turns and stabs the gladiator and like kills the person he's training with.
Yeah.
And then at the very finale of Spartacus, that's what's cool. He goes to do that move. Spartacus disarms him. Spartacus tries to stab him. He moves out of the way. He grabs Spartacus' sword and then pulls it out of his hands and goes to stab Spartacus. And then Spartacus moves out of the way again too and grabs it as well. So it shows the symmetry between them.
Yeah.
That's lit, bro.
But Spartacus is always a level ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But they're both dogs, but Spartacus is the real dog.
Yeah. And one other cool thing about that scene that like it goes into it is he tells that dude like because he can tell like the gladiator he's training with is taking it easy on him. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, he's like, I need you to like try to kill me. He said, so if you kill me, like I will grant you your freedom.
True.
And
That's true.
I mean that you got to be a savage to do that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in his position and
Yeah.
like
You never would have to risk that.
you don't
at
have
all.
to do that at all. But he does it, and then he pulls that move on him. Yeah, got to give him respect.
That's
for sure.
so sick, and the fact that they wrap it up and then let Spartacus do the same. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. You need to watch
Good.
Spartacus if you haven't.
Go watch Spartacus, seriously.
Yeah.
All right, so kicking off my top 10, I actually have what's his name? I'll just call him Mr. Candy from Django.
Miss Your Candy.
It's someone else.
Nah.
Yeah, whatever. I looked it up, but I don't feel like looking at
you're
that
good.
right now. Yeah, Mr. Candy. If you haven't seen Django, go watch it. Definitely, it was in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And he's definitely a big part of that. He's a good villain.
Mhm.
He he just plays the role so well. I have to shout out Leo for filling in that role as well as he did.
100%.
One thing I thought about is just at that dinner scene. He's the reason there's so much tension.
Yeah.
Like you can just feel like you're like worried for these people, and like you think about like, there's like one scene which it was also improv, which makes it so much better. But when he's like smashes the glass on the table, he's like, "Keep your hands on that tabletop," and he's rubbing blood all over her face, and you're just like, "Dude, this is like the worst." Because
Yeah.
I mean, that movie makes you feel tense, and you feel like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let alone all that happens, and Christoph Waltz, probably my favorite character from that movie. He makes him shake his hand,
Yeah.
and you're just like, this guy. So when that's what ends up being his downfall, because Christoph Waltz ends up shooting him right then.
Yeah.
Man, you just like it's the key to a good villain is you want to love to hate them.
Yeah.
I feel like he does a good job of that. He's not the best one on this list, and he doesn't have that much role in the movie
I think
besides
that's
like
probably. I mean, yeah, he just doesn't get that much screen time. But to have
yeah.
like just he's only in the second half of that movie, and I mean, I agree. Like, trust me, Django's one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies ever, and the like you said, like dude, the way he makes you feel so tense, like you
Yeah.
live like you're sitting at that table like with them at dinner, like tensed up because like
just worried
you're
about them finding out like their true intention of being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Yeah. He's so smooth with it. That's such a great character, and yeah, shout out Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the goats.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. All right, man. Well, actually, let me get into my number 9 first.
Go for it.
Okay, so my number 9 is Badiatus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no way.
Yeah. So
that's a good one too.
Yeah, dude. I just loved him the most. I don't know why.
From Spartacus, season
Spartacus.
1 and 2 actually, but yeah, from Spartacus.
Yeah. Man, you don't really hate this guy, but like, dude.
But you kind of do.
You kind of do. There's reasons to hate him, but for some reason, and honestly, I was listening to you. He has some respect for Spartacus. Like they're playing chess, and like he knows that Spartacus is intelligent, and he starts to like him more than he likes like the previous champion, which was Crixus.
Yeah. Because
Crixus was just more of like a brute.
Yeah.
But
Badiatus is he's like the owner of the like in season 1 he's just the owner of the Ludus, which is where all the gladiators like train and fight out of. He's like the owner of it, so he's basically like really he's just like he's Spartacus' like captor.
Yeah, but he always, I mean, even then, like his character, he's always finessing everybody, always trying to grind, because he's like Marcus Crassus is a big time person.
Yeah.
Badiatus is not.
Yeah.
So he's like playing the politic game, and like he's just a gladiator owner, but he uses that to his advantage, and yeah, it's just awesome. But to talk about how bad of a guy he is, I was thinking about like he's the reason like so Spartacus he goes into like the gladiator arena, and Badiatus uses his wife to motivate him. He's like, "You'll get your wife back. Like if you earn enough money, like I'll look for your wife."
Yep.
And then one thing he does is he's like, "All right, your wife's coming. Like you're gonna be able to get her." And Spartacus is actually planning to like escape right then too, which is crazy. But Badiatus gets her killed, so that Spartacus like just thinks like bandits like killed her, and uses that to give So now he's like fully invested in the games and stuff. So
yeah.
He definitely was a bad guy, but he was one of the definitely more likable ones on my list.
He's intriguing. That I mean, it's crazy how good that show is. It's so underrated. It's insane.
So underrated. Not to mention, he's got the original actor, which we've talked about in a previous video. But just go watch Spartacus.
Have to.
Okay.
Cool. Me?
Yeah, number
9. This one's interesting. I definitely have some interesting points about this one. But my number 9, I have Sauron from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't have him on your list, do you?
Not even close.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So it's tough for people who maybe, I mean, if you haven't watched Rings of Power, or if you haven't just like either read the books or like somehow learned about the lore of Lord of the Rings, because in the Lord of the Rings, you don't get to see much out of Sauron, if anything, really.
Yeah.
He's just a name that carries weight and like darkness around it. And the only thing from Lord of the Rings that you really remember with Sauron is like his armor. Like you think about his armor and how like badass he looks, but but in the Rings of Power they go way more into like his character. But in general, Sauron, what I like about him is so there was Morgoth, who's like the creator of evil basically in Lord of the Rings, and then there's his right hand man, which is Sauron. Morgoth goes away and then Sauron takes over, and the reason I like Sauron is he's just like, well, I mean, I don't want to say I like him for this, but he's a deceiver. He's very clever, manipulative. It's I don't want to say this, but it's very close to like the devil in a way in Lord of the Rings. He's like I said, deceiver, manipulative, and I
mean, he really is though.
And that's why the ring has so much corruption. It's because it's Sauron helped create it and stuff. It's got a piece of him in it, and it always wants to get back to him, and that's why when Frodo's carrying it, it corrupts him so much. I mean, to be fair, in Lord of the Rings, like the trilogy, the ring is almost the representation of Sauron. Like that's like there. Because, like I said, that's the corruption that's always going on. But yeah, I like that. I like someone who's not all about just like brute power. He's got a whole different dynamic to him. And in the Rings of Power, I personally, who people didn't maybe like it, dude, that kind of final scene, act when he's talking to Galadriel and like you figure out that Halberd was is Sauron, and I love how they introduce him. He's like, she's like, I've had many names since I've been here, and he starts to try to like get Galadriel to join him and stuff. But yeah, and like I said, just something about like Lord of the Rings. Everyone knows how that makes you feel. That like something about that darkness of that world, and that's because of Sauron in a way. Like even
Yeah.
though you don't get to see him as much.
I
So
feel
yeah, I
like
mean, like I said, I've done a lot of lore, so that's why I have him.
yeah, I figured you may. I just obviously, like you said, in the movies you definitely don't see him as much.
Yeah,
Rings of Power definitely bumps him up just because you get
sure.
more of a feel for who he is.
Yeah,
But he's more of like a representation of evil,
yeah,
at least from my standpoint. Like he
yeah.
just represents like what they're fighting against
Mhm.
rather than like an actual character.
Yeah.
Um, that's good though. I don't blame you at all.
Mhm.
All right, my number 8
Think so.
because we switched
Yeah.
sides. So
Should be, yeah.
was that your number 9?
That was my number 9.
Okay. All right, number 8. I got Umbridge from Harry Potter.
Ooh, yeah. I
Yeah.
thought about her.
Um, but she's definitely not as like you hate. No, hold on. She's not as like extreme, I guess, as maybe the rest of these. But she's pretty bad, man.
She just doesn't have the look.
Yeah, she doesn't have the look. She's like a tiny little old woman who just ends up
And always wearing pink.
always wearing pink, but she is the worst in
The
that
worst.
movie. Oh my gosh. It's probably Order of the Phoenix is definitely my favorite Harry Potter movie.
For sure.
And she's a big part of it because you just hate her. Like when you have a villain like that you hate that you're rooting against the whole time, it makes for such a good movie and good payoff if you do it right.
Yeah.
And man, so pretty much Umbridge just takes over Hogwarts after uh and like Dumbledore gets like kicked out and she just
Yeah.
ends up putting all these like strict rules and like they're just really just killing like their creativity almost.
Everything. Yeah.
Just running everything and then like she even punches like Harry Potter like when he's like cuz Harry Potter's like almost like the leader of like the rebels and like or the people
In
like
the
who are
classroom.
going against it. Yeah. And she goes and like punishes him and makes him like write on like a piece of paper that like starts engraving it into his skin.
Yeah.
And like I mean that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
I mean that was like the darkest thing that she did in that whole movie.
Yeah.
But
Well, she ends up doing it to everybody. If you remember, she takes everyone in that classroom. They all like have to do it. So.
yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, and then I mean, not to cut you off, but do you
Go for
remember toward the end, like when it starts to really pop off, when she like captures them all, and I forget what they did. She's about they won't tell him. Like she's asking them questions, they won't say, it, and she's about to use the Crucius curse
Oh,
on
yeah.
Harry Potter to get
Yeah.
him to tell him.
Not to mention that she comes back later on when Voldemort actually like and them take over the school and she's just up there with them.
Yeah.
So clearly she wasn't like the best person.
Oh, she was horrible.
Terrible intentions, but yeah, you really just hate her in those movies. She's lower on the list just because the look and like her actual like the stakes on the line weren't
Yeah.
as like devastating. She's not like trying to kill anybody, but you really don't like her in that
Well, I
movie.
mean, at that time, like that's when they're trying to like, well, it's honestly like getting terrible in the world. They know that like that's after Goblet of Fire when they knew Voldemort was back, and then they kicked Dumbledore out, and she's like not letting them train with like actual spells, so no one like is ready to defend themselves, like like creating an easy takeover for Voldemort when he's ready. So I mean,
Yeah,
the stakes are pretty high still.
for sure. And like something that I also mentioned later on this list is if it's a good villain, you can have good hero moments.
True.
So like when Harry Potter starts teaching the group,
Yeah.
like you get those moments and you're just hyped up because you're like, get her. Like I'm tired of this. Like
That's true.
I want her gone.
Yep.
So yeah, Umbridge at number 8.
Love that. Okay, my number 8, I got
Yep.
Homelander from
Okay.
The Boys.
Yep, that's a good one.
If you haven't seen The Boys, I mean, like I said, it's just basically like an R-rated superhero movie, but superheroes are more like celebrities in a way, like they're
Mhm.
all like on TV and stuff,
Very
and
political.
yeah, and Homelander's big thing, I guess. He just always really well at first, I mean, he just wants to be like the star of the show and wants everyone to like him and stuff, but it gets a lot darker and deeper as you go on. But Homelander as a character, like because of like I said, he has like the powers of Superman,
Yeah.
but he's an idiot. I mean, realistically, and so
Yeah.
like it, and again, it's like R-rated, so they do a good job of like keeping that tension where he's like hilarious, but you're like, dude, this dude's hilarious, but he's also got like the shortest temper, and he'll do the worst things, and literally no one can contest him. He's unstoppable, basically.
Yeah, and you're just the whole show is just waiting for like
Him to pop
what's
off.
gonna push him over the edge.
Yeah,
and
'cause
you're almost
true.
rooting for it in a weird way
Because you want to see it, because you're like, dude, I want to see what would happen if Superman just cracked, because that's what this guy is. Yeah, they do such a good job. He's hilarious, like his jokes, and like because no one can say anything to him, it's hilarious. And there's also this like thing where basically like he kind of has this disgust for humans in a way, and it's just because he's Superman, and so I
I
don't know
am
the way.
better.
Yeah, he's hilarious. So you just have to check it out to get that humor. But Homelander he's a great villain. Like I said, he's got it all. It's funny, it's tense, it's insane. So yeah, The Boys, Homelander, number 8 for me.
Extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll go into my number 7 then.
Okay.
One of the worst people on this list, if not the worst. I got Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Oof.
Yeah, he's terrible. It it's tough to say in a show that literally anybody can die that you're like the worst of the worst on that,
Yeah.
and you're literally like a kid, but you hate this kid. Like especially early seasons of Game of Thrones. Huge spoiler alerts coming in the way, but
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, don't let us spoil it for you.
please go watch it.
It's the best
Come
entertainment you can
pause,
see.
come back to this point in the video.
True.
But he obviously going into it now. He kills Ned Stark. He makes Sansa look at the head of Ned Stark. Oh my gosh! And then he there's that scene in the wedding where like if Tyrion didn't save him, he was gonna beat her because like Robb Stark was having like a rebellion. Do you remember that? And Tyrion ends up walking in. That's when he's like the hand. And he ends up saving her and like walking her out.
Yeah.
He ends up like there's those like excuse the language again, but like those whores that he takes and like makes
Could
them
have
like
said hookers, but
hey, is either one of them good?
probably not.
Um,
But yeah, he just does terrible things.
does terrible things to them. He so there's like a moment in the show when he realizes there's like a bunch of babies that could pretty much, long story short, take his place as king. They have a right.
It's all the bastards of his dad.
Yeah, so they have so they have a chance to like
Be the king.
Be the king.
Yeah,
And he has people go kill all these babies.
true.
And that's just like that is awful.
It just scratches the surface until you watch it. Like, dude, that.
And he's just antagonizing everybody as king, and
Yeah.
like nobody can really do anything to him. There's a couple people who like talk back to him, like Tyrion. And
Tywin.
Tywin
especially.
Tywin especially he says no.
Yeah.
I'm the one ruling things. You're just the face.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, he's the worst of the worst. There's nothing likable about him at all. So one of the characters that's like on here that you just genuinely hate, and like when he dies, you're like, woo!
Yeah.
I didn't even expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joffrey has to be on the list. I already knew about him before I even watched Game of Thrones, just because how much people were like, I hate this guy. Hate him.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
For me, it's just him and Sansa. That everything that he does with Sansa and stuff, it's just horrible.
It's the worst.
But you know what's funny is you said that Joffrey is like the worst villain in Game of Thrones, and you had what? That was your number 7.
That's my number 7.
You know what my number 7 is?
I can only guess. Yeah.
My number 7 is the actual worst villain in Game of Thrones because Joffrey's bad. Don't get me wrong, but there's one guy who's worse.
There is.
And it's Ramsay Bolton.
Terrible.
From Game of Thrones as my number 7.
Reek.
I don't even know where to start. Just think of the most sadistic, twisted, like 21-year-old dude. He's the bastard of a guy who's like kind of like a powerhouse in the north, and he's the bastard of him. And he eventually kills his dad. So his dad eventually gives him the name, like gives him his, the Bolton last name. And then once he gets that, he kills his dad. He kills his brother. He kills the mom, like immediately, and then starts to try to like rule the North, as the warden of the North and stuff. But I honestly don't even want to talk about a lot of the stuff that he does. But dude, this guy, like, the way he has no remorse, like, at all. He's the most merciless like person I've ever seen on screen. I feel like he doesn't care. He wants only terrible things to happen to people. There's no boundary he won't push. He has broken people down in ways that you can't even like imagine.
Yeah.
And again, Jon Snow was, I don't remember where I had him, but I obviously love Jon Snow like dearly in my heart. And Jon Snow that's definitely one of his main antagonists, if not his main antagonist.
Definitely his main one,
like
I'd
that's
say.
like Jon Snow is a bastard. Ramsay Bolton is technically a bastard. And my favorite episode ever of Game of Thrones is called Battle of the Bastards. I mean, he kills Jon Snow's brother. He does terrible things to Jon Snow's sister, like was trying to like destroy the Starks because the Starks and the Boltons were kind of battling for power in the North. And yeah, it's unreal how much you hate this guy. Like you want, like, again, when a villain makes you want them to die like so bad and like you just want to see them go away, like you know that they're a good one. So it's
Yeah,
crazy that he's in. You know, he's my one of my favorite villains, but it's because it created this moment for Jon Snow that made Jon Snow my favorite like character ever, basically. So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
Ramsey
definitely.
Bolton.
No, he's the worst. He is the worst.
So wait, but you had Joffrey? Oh wait, never mind then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep it to yourself.
gotcha.
All right, getting into my number 6. Another one I already kind of like talked about. I got Vulture. I
Wow,
Yeah.
that's just
So
like a personal favorite.
I loved
Yeah,
him.
you
He
do.
in the MCU especially. I loved him.
Hmm.
I can talk about like the main scene that like I love in. Well, one, you just don't know that that's her dad. Like so, Spider-Man's dating this girl and he's about to go like to a dance with her. And when he goes and knocks and he's about to go to the dance, and Vulture, the guy who I don't remember the actual person's name, he
Yeah.
opens the door and you realize that that is her dad.
Hmm.
And Spider-Man knows who, like he knows that's Vulture, but Vulture doesn't know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That moment was like chilling. You're like, oh my goodness, I just like, how are you gonna like go through with this now? And then in the car when he realizes that's Spider-Man and he's talking to him, and he's like, go enjoy this dance. Like, if you ever come with me, like, I'll kill you, Pete. I'll kill you dead. He's like, and that's what I would do for my family. Like,
So wait, how does so in that car ride does Vulture eventually like put it together that it's Peter's?
yeah, that
How?
I think they're just talking about it. And he's like, she's like, oh yeah, DC, like when you disappeared, and like and
That's
like,
crazy.
and he like puts it together. He's like, good old Spider Man, and dude, he kills it.
Yeah.
He kills it at that role. But like
Yeah.
again, his ambition is why I like him, and that's a big thing on this list. Is people's ambition like matters. If you can like maybe understand the villain side,
True.
which he's one of the ones I really like. I feel for him. I'm like, dude, he's just trying to like he's not killing anybody. He's just robbing and like selling illegal weapons. Like it's not the worst thing you can do to like help your family like pay the money that he can't get like Iron Man and stuff. Like in the beginning of the movie, I didn't go into detail because I didn't want to because I
Yeah.
knew I was going to talk about it later on. In the beginning of the movie, like after that battle, they go to this construction site and they see this alien technology and they're like, "Oh my god, like what is this?" And like Shield pretty much just comes in and like, "Yeah, we need this." Like, and you've seen that even in Thor. Like
Yeah.
they're just like that, and,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
they're not the best people. They just take whatever they need and whatever they want,
True.
and just everyone else is left to deal with it. But they like miss some alien technology, and that's how he makes his suit and stuff like that.
Mm.
But he's just a really good villain, good like ambition. He just wants to like support his family. And it has some of the best scenes in the MCU. Just that car scene alone is like chilling because your Spider-Man doesn't even know what to do. He's still a kid, and he's just like, "This is my girlfriend's dad." Like, yeah, leads to a lot of good scenes. He's probably the best part of that movie, in my opinion. So I got Vulture. That was my number 6. So
Great one.
knocking on the door at top
Yeah.
5.
We're knocking on the door. My number 6 to round out the bottom half of this list. I got Darth Vader,
Oh, okay.
aka Anakin, because Anakin at some point is well, not really. I mean, they name him Darth
You
Vader
can
once he
can
goes to
count
the
it. I
dark
just
side. But
didn't.
yeah, but like Connor said, to start it off, he has a great backstory. It's a character that you love. He was my favorite, Star Wars character for the most part. And so then he turns to the dark side. Again, you understand his motivations sort of. Like his thing is he's like again, one, he doesn't agree with the Jedi like a lot of the time because the Jedi no love, you know, they're very strict. They didn't let him on the council and they didn't let him on the council because they were afraid of how powerful he was, which I can understand that too, but it just starts to cause a lot of problems. And then again, he's manipulated definitely by Lord Sidious, but you know, because again he's having visions of Padme dying at birth, and he
Have you
wants to
heard the tale of Plagueis the Wise?
yeah. And so yeah, he's completely manipulated by that aspect, and he just wants the power to be able to save the ones he loves. So, but again, I know that you didn't like the sequels, prequels,
Oh,
whatever,
geez.
OGs, whatever you want to call it. But I know a lot of the backstory even without those. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, Lord Sidious like played him for sure. Anakin was, if Anakin didn't like get the injuries he had to Obi-Wan, he was gonna go on to be like the most powerful Jedi ever by far. Sidious putting the Lord Vader armor on him also like, diminishes some of his power, and it like causes him like severe pain. So it's almost like a an fu from Lord Sidious because he lost to Obi Wan. Like that's why he did it to like mock him. That's like the actual reason why he put the
Really?
armor of Darth Vader on
That's
him and stuff. And
crazy.
so and then he the armor is like super like heavy and stuff, so he feels that pain all the time. But that pain also helps him channel the dark side so much. So he's so powerful. And the Skywalker like lineage is like the most important thing in Star Wars. So, and then yeah, like you mentioned like the scene from Rogue One where they like redid like the opening scene from like Star Wars Episode 4, but they redid it in Rogue One where he like comes in and he like just starts like slicing people up, throwing them against the ceiling, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually really love Darth Vader.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do.
I love the aesthetic of him too. He looks like a beast, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's they do such a great job because he was once like your favorite Jedi, and then he becomes a villain. So yeah, Darth Vader number 6, easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. Don't blame you one bit. For me personally, couldn't.
Don't blame me either.
Okay. I'll kick off my top 5.
Go for it.
Okay. My top 5, I got Frieza kicking it off.
Yep.
Have to. Obviously, you mentioned Cell. But Frieza for me, that was my childhood. Like I remember, like I've mentioned before, probably I watched Dragon Ball Z all like the Frieza saga in one night.
Yeah.
And like you hear about this like super powerful being that they're like, dude, you do not want to mess with her.
Yeah.
Him, I don't even know him.
Her.
It's a him. I'm pretty sure.
I always forget actually. Yeah.
But you don't want to mess with him. Pretty much, more of the story. Like super powerful being that's like just in this little pod ship that you just wouldn't expect at all, but is the one who like destroyed Vegeta's home planet, and like there's
What's the name of that planet?
planet Vegeta. Gosh,
got him.
But she's it's gonna be so hard. He's just a menace. He
Yeah.
really is. Like until Goku gets to Namek and he's just wiping the floor with these people.
Yeah.
And just form after form after form, getting stronger and stronger and just merciless, wrecking these people. But one of the scenes I think of the most is obviously when Goku gets there and fighting and still getting beat. Like, he uses a spirit bomb and throws it, and you think Frieza's gone, and Frieza just appears on a mountain, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, what is gonna beat him?
Yeah.
Like, especially, not knowing what's coming. Like, you're just like,
Definitely.
like, what's gonna happen here? And Krillin, like, he just takes Krillin and puts him in the sky and blows him up, and Goku's like, stop this! And then, of course, the most epic moment in pretty much all of Dragon Ball, it's hard to say, is when Goku hits Super Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, it's why I brought it up. If you're a good villain, you're a good villain when a hero can have a good moment like that.
Yeah.
Because you want Frieza to lose. You're like, oh my gosh, like, when is this going to stop? And this was before, Dragon Ball Z has this reputation of just bringing people back nonstop.
Yeah.
But that was, like, serious. I'm like, dude, Krillin's just gone? I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And then Goku goes Super Saiyan, and they go at it, and that is one of the best battles. If you can get past the filler of it, one of the best battles to ever happen. Even when Goku's Super Saiyan, and like Frieza, he keeps trying to give Frieza a chance after chance after chance.
And Frieza can never accept
it. Let alone now, Golden Frieza, Dragon Ball Super. Like Frieza is still one of the best villains. Golden Frieza was awesome because, I mean, that just leads to like the most recent like transformations of Super Saiyan God and him and Vegeta like going after Frieza and almost not like finishing the job because he just destroys the planet, but just wants nothing but to wipe the Saiyan race, and just a good villain. Really a lot of nostalgia for me with that one. But yeah, had to be at number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Obviously I can't say too much.
Yeah, I understand. I got the vibe, trust me.
Okay, so top 5. This one is gonna surprise you for sure. You're not gonna be thinking of this. And this one is just a personal favorite from like growing up to now. Just he was like always my favorite villain. Like when people would ask me who's your favorite villain, it's always who I would say. And that's Magneto.
Oh yeah.
I love Magneto. First of all, I just love the power to control metal. I love that. I love how he looks. I love the helmet, the cape, and he's just like ultra powerful. People don't realize how truly powerful Magneto is. Like he's so powerful with the metal, he could literally like move the earth. Like that's how strong he is. He's like
crazy.
He's next level, and you don't get to see that all the time in the movies and stuff, of course. And the movie character is obviously like an older guy. I do like the first class version, like at least how he looks, because that's how I just imagine Magneto as that. But do you know why Magneto wears that helmet?
Oh, it's because he doesn't want Charles to like get in his head.
Yep, that's right. I wondered if you knew that.
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Yeah,
I know some things.
Yeah. But yeah, now obviously I love the animated X-Men series, like best cartoon probably ever for me, like as far as like, when I was younger. So uh I just always loved Magneto as a character. He was my favorite villain, and I do like Magneto's motivation. You
Hmm.
know, in the world that they're in, humans like make mutants feel terrible. Like they make them feel like outcasts and different and stuff, and they always have to hide their powers and things like that. And like they had to have special schools, like Professor Xavier's school and stuff like that. And his thing is, he's like, why would we hide? He's like, we're not like different. We're not like the outcasts. We're the superior race. Like we've evolved. They didn't like, and that's his big thing. And so that's why when like the government starts to take it to another like not like another level and like start having restrictions on mutants and all that stuff, and they make the cure. Obviously, that's in X-Men 3, but they make the
Hmm.
cure for mutants. He like starts like to go like a war against them, and he
Yeah,
never wants to fight the other mutant. Like he never wants to fight against like Professor Xavier and stuff. He's like a good dude, but at the end of the day, like he's
he's
driven with
protecting his race, and
yeah
like,
he's
and they don't, and most people don't like his race, and yeah,
yeah
that's true. That's I
yeah.
thought about it, but it's a good point.
He's just always been one of my favorite characters though. Like if I could be a villain or be like a mutant, I would always choose Magneto like
Pretty much
all
are a
day.
mutant right now.
A mutant? How so?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. Yeah, it's gonna be easy to
Because
go
of
through
my
a
next
couple of
level
these.
funny, like how funny I am.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Preston's mutant powers. He's funny.
Yeah,
All right.
you too. Funny looking.
All right. Is it number 4? Was that near number 5?
That was my number 5.
Okay, number 4. Luckily, we're gonna have to speed up, but luckily, I don't have to say too much about this
All
one.
right, right there.
Got Homelander at number 4.
Mm,
So yeah, obviously has to be on my list. I love Homelander. I've mentioned it before. He's one of the best villains.
yeah,
He's just entertaining. Like
it's unique.
he's very unique. Yeah, and I actually I don't have too much to say about it, so I'll use my time to do this. I saw a quote that I liked when I was looking into it. It's a bit long, but just shows who he is.
Yeah,
It's so setting up the scene, him and Starlight, which she's like one of the good-ish superheroes.
mm,
Um, she's like threatening him with like blackmail him with like a video of the so he lets these people on like this airplane die because he's not gonna be
yep,
able to save it, so they just let them all die. But there's a video of it,
yeah,
and she's threatening him with it, and he says, "Go ahead, release it. Let's light this candle, huh? I mean, sure, I'll lose everything, but then I'll have nothing to lose. First, I'll take out the nerve centers, White House, Pentagon, then any domestic defense capabilities, and then critical infrastructure like cellular, internet, that kind of thing. And then, well, I think then I'll just wipe New York off the effing map for fun. I'll even throw in Des Moines and that little cousin effer hick town that Maeve's from. Because why not? See, Starlight, I'd prefer to be loved. I would, I prefer to be loved. I would, but if you take that away from me, well, being feared is A1 okie dokie doke by me. So go ahead, partner. Do it. No? You don't want to do it? Well, then I would have to say you have absolutely no effing leverage because I am the Homelander and I really can do whatever the F I want.
wow,
And that
dude,
is
that's
why
epic,
he's
bro.
awesome
Yeah,
because he just doesn't care. And like when you push him, when push comes to shove, you cannot do anything about it.
yeah, it's true.
And that was just one of those moments where I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I just loved it because you think about it, you're like, dude, these people are just blackmailing him, but he cares so much about his image. But right then he's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done taking this. And
because he's already he starts to get to that breaking point where he doesn't. He's like, dude, why do I even care about like them liking me? Like,
you do not. You almost like, I don't want to push him there.
yeah,
Like, what am I trying to do?
yeah,
Am I trying
nah,
to get this whole world destroyed?
dude, they do such a good job in that show,
Such a
man.
good job.
Yeah.
That I mean, that's one of many quotes.
Oh
One
yeah,
of many, many, many quotes. Like, there's this time when he's on stage with Starlight, and he's like, I am better. Like, he just snaps. He's like, I'm not gonna say this script, and goes in and like towards the end of the show, again, spoilers, a lot of spoilers, but the most recent one, he has this kid named, I forget, but he's like
oh, I
showing
don't remember.
he's showing the crowd his kid, and this one of like, honestly, it's very similar to like politics nowadays, but this guy's like, F you, Homelander, and like throw something at him, or throw something and it hits the kid, and Homelander's like, and lasers the guy, and just destroys him right
Yeah.
away, and everyone's like they pause for a second, Homelander doesn't know what's gonna happen, like he thinks it's about to be over, and they're all like, yeah,
Yeah, they all
and
cheer
that's
for him.
how it ended. So it's about to get crazy now that he knows what he can actually get away with. But Homelander has to be at number 4. You said a lot about him already, but
you killed it. No,
yeah,
that
he's great.
quote was beautiful. Like that, like you said, described him exactly. My number 4, I got the Green Goblin.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, had to put him. I first like real like live action movie like superhero movies I watched was definitely the first Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and he absolutely kills his role in that. Like, just yeah, his rivalry with Spider-Man is like amazing. He's menacing as can be. He's got the strength and the powers to rival Spider-Man. Um, and yeah, like he's trying to show Spider-Man like what the possibilities would be if he like kind of went evil, but in obviously in his eyes that's not evil, but he's trying to convince Spider-Man to join him. Yeah, and then on top of that, like obviously he's great in the animated series and stuff, and then when he comes back in the most recent MCU, like it shows how good of a villain he is because he comes back and now it's awesome. Like you don't even really get the moment with Toby and the Green Goblin.
I
But
think there is a deleted scene with it in it.
sure, but you don't. Yeah, sure. But like he comes back and he really has no relation to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but just because the rivalry between Spider-Man and Green Goblin is so iconic, and because of what people remember from the Green Goblin from the previous trilogy, through the way he collides with Tom Holland is epic. And then he obviously spoiler he kills Aunt May and pushes Tom Holland to like the absolute breaking point, and he's like I forget what he says, but he has like a very menacing line where he's like, all the power in the world, but but couldn't save anyone or whatever.
Yeah.
What's he say? You know what line I'm talking about?
Yeah. Go. I mean,
it's
we'll
all
look
good.
it up in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, iconic line. Again,
But yeah, he's
such
just
a good villain.
He's
Pretty much,
so
he's just
good.
like, you don't know how to use the power, and like, there's a breaking point in the movie where he's like, these aren't curses, they're gifts, and like they don't. It's like we're not gonna take. Honestly, similar to Magneto.
Yeah.
Not really though.
No, but
similar,
anyway.
similar like ambition.
Yeah, I just like him because he's got a good mix of like he's very powerful, but he's also got this amazing psychological like warfare that he inflicts on people.
Like I know at least in the Toby one thing he does is he has like this like bus full of like people,
and then Mary
and
Jane.
like Aunt Mary Jane, and it's like you have to decide.
Yeah,
and he's like I can't.
Yeah,
like,
he just exactly. He pushes those boundaries. That's psychological of like what the cost it is to be a hero. So yeah, Green Goblin number 4, easy peasy.
Talking about being psycho. Number 3, I got Ramsay Bolton. Of course he's on my list. He's got to be above Joffrey. He's the worst person in Game of Thrones by far.
Yeah.
He said a lot about him. I'm not going to go into too much detail. He is just sadistic. You hate this guy. He tortures this guy to like the absolute extreme. Can't say too much, but one of the things he does is like in the beginning, this character in the show is getting tortured, and he's like, come on, like I'm going to save you. He's not being tortured by him yet.
Yeah.
So he's like, come on, we're gonna save you. Like you're gonna see the sunlight again, and like gets him through and makes this whole big thing just to lead him back to the same exact place.
Lock him up and then reveal that he's like the actual captor.
He's like the actual captor, and it's just like, dude, because you believe it. You're like, heck yeah, like here we go.
Yeah.
He's being saved, and then he doesn't end up being saved. And you're like, what kind of messed up, twisted stuff? And that leads to so much.
That leads to the worst thing you've ever seen. Like it's honestly hard to watch.
Some of the worst stuff.
Nearly.
And you think Joffrey's bad with Sansa? Yeah, Sansa ends up getting married to this guy too, and it's 10 times worse.
Yeah,
it's worse. He's the worst person in the show, and like I've said, if you're a bad villain, it can lead to great hero moments. He talked about the Battle of the Bastards. Jon Snow going after Ramsay Bolton is easily one of the best things you'll ever watch. Because you hate this guy and you love Jon Snow, and you just want to see him murk this dude. And he gets his opportunity. There's this funny scene when like they're about to do the battle, and Jon Snow's like, "Let's just fight 1-on-1 for our armies." And he's like, "No, we're not. No." He's like, "See, my army will beat yours. Yeah. So, but you may beat me in a 1-on-1." And then after the whole battle like ends up happening, he ends up like chasing Ramsay back to the castle, and Ramsay's like, "You said let's fight 1-on-1. That sounds like a lovely idea."
Yeah.
What does he say?
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
And then Jon Snow just pounds this dude.
Yeah.
He's like trying to shoot a bow at him.
Yeah, and Jon Snow just keeps
walking and walks up and just beats him to a pulp. But then Sansa gets the like ending strike, and that's worth it too.
Wow.
Yeah, Ramsay Bolton.
I forgot about that. That's so funny when he pulls up. He's like, well, I don't know if I'd beat you in a 1-on-1 sword fight, but I know my army would beat yours.
I know. Then afterwards, he's like,
It's like the way
you
they
said you
talk.
want to fight one-on-one. Sounds like a wonderful idea.
Yeah, after he gets surrounded and he's lost the war and stuff, he goes back to him and he's like, you know what? I think that one-on-one sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Bro,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, and killing Rickon, one of the worst moments ever.
Yeah.
Like his little brother, he sends his little brother to run back to John and has John run out into the middle of the field, and he's just like jokingly like missing arrows on
Yeah.
purpose,
Yeah.
just to let Jon Snow get just close enough to almost get him, and then send an arrow through this kid's heart, his little brother.
Yeah.
And
it's all to bait Jon Snow further in so that he can try and kill Jon Snow
Yeah.
and win this quickly. So.
leads to one of the best shots in all of
Like
movies or
cinematic.
TV,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Ramsey Bolton kicking off the top 3.
Beautiful. My number 3, I have the Joker.
Yeah, of course.
I talked about it in a previous video. It's the psychological aspect of it. Just the way he tries to break Batman again. It is similar to Green Goblin, the way that he's testing what a hero will really do and what it means to be a hero. And he's just so twisted. Like the stuff that he does and the scenarios he puts people through is crazy. Like I think of the animated series, like when he kills Robin, and like that whole scenario and what that like I don't know if he kills Robin or Damon Wayne. Like he literally kills Batman's son, but whatever. He actually no, he just kills the first Robin. But either way, like I said, the way he pushes Batman to the absolute breaking point, and then obviously like Heath Ledger's bringing that animated version to the screen, and the way he portrayed that was undefeated. Like it's so amazing to see it in The Dark Knight. Like it's almost a perfect movie in my opinion, just because again you
Very
love
close.
Batman, but all the scenarios like, and he just honestly like he's badass in his own way too. He's just sick, bro. Like
We're dropping lots of A-bombs.
yeah, whatever. But like, you want to see this pencil disappear? Boom! And slams a dude's head there. Like he's just all these mob bosses. They see this clown. Like, dude, what's this dude's deal? And then obviously the scene where he pulls up to like Bruce, like Manor, or I don't know. It's like some party, but obviously Bruce Wayne's there and everyone's there, and he gets Rachel, and he's like, "You wanna know how I got these scars?" And he like always makes up different stories, but you don't even know how he got the scars because he says like a different story every time he talks about it. Yeah, Joker's crazy. Like he doesn't even have any powers, just chaotic, and he's still able to like wreak absolute havoc on everybody.
Of course.
So yeah, Joker number 3, iconic, love him. Like I can never get enough of the Joker. So
I actually have another quote to start my number 2. Okay. Yeah, alright, I'll start it. You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I told the press that, like a gangbanger would get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, nobody panics, because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that a little old mayor will die, well then everybody loses their minds. That's the Joker at number 2, baby. He's got to be on this list. You said a lot about him. I'm going to say a little more. Man, in The Dark Knight, he has so many good moments. Honestly, it's like what the Green Goblin does, but better, just in my opinion. Because it's more, he has no powers. He has no abilities. He just breaks people down. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
One thing I think about that's crazy is because he's never really able to break Batman. That's why he's such a good villain, because like,
that's why he's so obsessed with Batman.
Yeah.
Because he knows he could break anybody else, but Batman, he can't ever break him. Like
can't break him. He does everything, and he can't break him.
Yeah.
And then he turns it on easy mode, and he goes after Superman. It's like the whole Injustice story. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, in the game.
And ends up killing like Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And breaks Superman like that.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's crazy, because Superman just, that's why he's one of the best villains. He broke him like that. Someone who's that powerful.
I love
And that's why Batman's also one of the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep talking about him. In The Dark Knight, he has a lot of great moments. One of the ones that I brought up in the previous video is that he like puts those people on a boat against each other just to.
Yeah.
His whole plan is really just to show how disgusting humanity is.
Yeah.
You see a lot more of his ambition to do that in the most recent Joker, because it's all pretty much about how he becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
But like you see that whole scene on him on the news too, when he's like talking to whoever's hosting that show.
Right.
And he's like, "Why do you guys care so much about these people? Like if I like got shot, or you guys would step right over me." And it's just, it's true. It's so true. People don't care about stuff, and that's why that quote means a lot, because it's like when stuff goes according to plan, people you expect to die, you don't care.
Yeah.
It's when people that you don't expect to die, or when stuff like that gets threatened, that you
It's
start to pay
chaos.
attention.
His whole thing is chaos. Isn't that what he
Yeah.
said? Chaos is like gravity. All it needs is a little push. Or no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that what he says? Or is it?
Something like that.
Or is it madness? I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah, all it needs is a little push. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm a dog chasing cars that just do things. He has no ambition.
Yeah.
And like one of the best moments in The Dark Knight is Alfred talking to Batman. He's like, I don't think you understand this guy. He doesn't have any motivation.
Yeah.
Like some people just want to watch the world burn.
True.
And that is the
True,
Joker.
True.
Which again, such a good villain. You already said enough about him. You already know everything about him if you're watching this video. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
He has to be up there.
Yeah.
Number 2. I am surprised he was your number 3.
Well said.
Yeah.
My number 2, I got Frieza.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
I'm gonna speak a little bit more on it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like Frieza. He is a similar type of way. He honestly just wants to see things burn and wants to be the superior like person on top. He has no remorse. He has no mercy, and he never. It's not like it's a live action thing. Live action, if they do it the right way, can make you feel some type of way. But to feel some type of way when you're watching something animated is different to me, and Frieza makes you feel that. Like killing your friends in front of you, he does that. Wiping out planets full of people, he does that. Like saying the worst things and trying to push you and make you realize how helpless you are, he does that. And he's relentless too. Like he'll never stop. Connor talked about it. This guy had like chance after chance after chance. Goku powers up. Goku gets the power to defeat him and keeps beating him and keeps being like, Frieza, dude, just stop. Like, I don't even want to kill you anymore. I know I can beat you. Like, just go away. It doesn't matter anymore. And Frieza, like, literally cannot ever let it go. This dude is cut in half. He has one arm left and he's half a body, and he still gets the rest of his energy and tries to kill Goku one last time before he gets destroyed. And then later on in the Dragon Ball series, he comes back and he gets a new form called Golden Frieza. And because he is able to attain this form, because before that he had never trained a single time. He was just that powerful. And Goku beat him. He dies. He comes back to life, and then he like decides, okay, well, I'm gonna train. So he trains for 6 months, and he's able to like attain the power like the same as Goku, because he never even had to train before. So, yeah, Frieza is the villain of my childhood. He made Dragon Ball Z what it is. He made me like love Goku and Vegeta like that much. Like, and his rivalry with Goku is epic, like for sure. But even his rivalry with Vegeta is sick. Like Vegeta, obviously, like Frieza enslaved the Saiyans, which is where Vegeta and Goku come from. Like, basically made a mockery of their entire race and then killed them all. And then Vegeta was never able to be strong enough to kill Frieza, and Frieza ends up killing him. And yeah, it's just Frieza, like I said, he's the villain of my childhood, and he is what made Dragon Ball Z my favorite like animated show ever.
Yeah,
so.
I don't blame you at all. Actually, he's great. I'm pretty sure we should just shake hands, because there's no way we don't have the same.
Are you on your number 1 now?
I'm on my number 1.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Thanos.
Of course. Yeah, of course. He has to be our number 1. I mean, that's obvious.
I can understand people saying other things, but when I really think about it, like, Thanos is my favorite.
Yeah, Thanos is the best. He has one of the most understanding, like,
true
ambitions with it. He just wants to, like, and you believe it, because once he gets it, he stops.
Yeah.
Once he gets what he wants, he just rests. He said, I'm going to rest on a grateful universe. And he does it.
That's true.
But the reason he's the best is because this man beat our whole childhood heroes. He beat all of them.
Yeah.
And that's just something you don't see very often.
Yeah.
Especially if you watched all of Marvel. The first time they lose in the best film of all the MCU is to Thanos. And it's building up and building up after years and years and years of just showing who this guy was. And you're just getting glimpses of, like, how powerful is this guy going to be? It's what they want Kang to be, but he's just not going to be that.
Right.
But Thanos is great, man. I'll start with just my piece about it. Obviously, Thanos, his ambition is just he wants to cut down half the universe because there's not enough
resources
to go around. Which, people have found loopholes with that. But still, the idea works. Like, it still makes sense. And he just does.
And he considers it mercy. He's not torturing them to death. He's like, instantly they're gone.
Yeah.
It's random selection. It doesn't matter. Like, just half the species gone, and that's it. So.
He does. I mean, yeah. You go into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you believe in his cause, but there's like a lot of things that stand out, but one of them is definitely like the part with Star-Lord when he his daughter Gamora, like, has her boyfriend Star-Lord, obviously, and Gamora doesn't want Thanos to get the location of the Soul Stone, and so Gamora tells Star-Lord, like, if Thanos captures me, like, kill me, and he lets Star-Lord think that he's actually about to pull the trigger on that gun when Thanos was never ever gonna let her die there because he needed that Soul Stone to become all powerful.
Yeah.
But he still lets let Star-Lord get to that point, and he's like, I like him. He liked him that he was able to do that because if you're willing to sacrifice what you love, whatever for like will, because his big thing is like his willpower is like unbelievable. Like when he believes in something, like you're not gonna stop him. It's crazy, and the force he is through all the MCU movies, like he is the low key cause of all the different villains and things that are happening for the most part. Here and there, he's always the overlapping story that's coming, and then when he gets there, they deliver it perfectly.
Perfectly. Like, yeah. And like, he has some like human like qualities too. Like, when he's trying to get the Soul Stone, he has to sacrifice Gamora, and it's like, I mean, it's hard for him. You actually believe that he loves her, but that's how much he believes in what he's doing. He's willing to sacrifice what he loves because that's how much he believes in what he's doing. So in his mind, he is the hero. He's doing the thing. He says, I had to look up quotes for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have to look up quotes for Thanos because I can almost quote them by heart. He said the hardest choices require the strongest wills.
Yep.
And that is the truth.
Yep.
And that's how he feels. He just feels like people aren't willing to see what they actually have to do. And then you come back in Endgame with a more like young, immature Thanos who just wants to, like, he's just mad and he's willing to wipe out the whole population. It's
crazy because like he's younger and stuff. And you say immature?
I was only saying immature because
I know what you mean by that for sure, but at the same time, it's crazy because like in one moment when he puts the pieces together of what's happened, like that he won, they came back and did whatever, and now he's gonna like, it's like he immediately matures. Like he's so, I don't even know how to say it. Like he understands right away. He's like, okay, like right away he puts it together. Me wiping out half the universe and resting isn't enough. Like I have to
recreate it myself.
I have to kill everyone so no one can remember what happened, and then it will actually be like a grateful universe, whatever. And that is just insane, and you can see it. Like it doesn't bother him really. Like it's not like he's worried or frightened. He's like, this is what it is, and but like I am inevitable, and he thinks that, and he's there, and like he is like it's crazy. Like he's the place in the timeline, no matter where you go and you go back and forth and side to side in the timelines, you're always going to eventually run into Thanos.
Yeah, he's awesome. And we talked about his ambition a lot, but you think about like just him also overpowering these people. That's the last point we can make. But like he takes on a 3v1 against Thor, Iron Man, and Cap.
Yeah.
And Cap getting Mjolnir and like you get these iconic moments where you think they should just be winning, but they don't.
Yeah.
They get whooped. Captain Marvel, one of the most OP overpowered people, gets
that was so
bodied, and he just like he takes the Power Stone out of the gauntlet, just again showing he's a step ahead. He's smart, like he's willing to do it. One of his first scenes, he just bodies Hulk in hand-to-hand combat. He just bodies these people, and like they can't do anything. He's fighting Doctor Strange, and he's like sending black holes at him. He's throwing moons.
Yeah,
this dude was just unstoppable.
It's just different.
Yeah, so I'm glad you had him at number 1.
Easy.
Yeah,
it was just too easy.
Yeah, for sure. I had him and the Joker right up there.
Yeah,
but
I mean obviously the Joker.
One thing I'm surprised I'm surprised you didn't have because something I thought about earlier.
Killmonger.
Did you think about it?
Yeah, I definitely thought about it, but I mean, there were just so many other ones. Like I do like him. I think the main thing I liked about Killmonger was
his swag.
Definitely his swag, like for sure. But also I liked how like he beat Black Panther. Black Panther comes back, and then Black Panther like shows up thinking he's gonna get another one-on-one against Killmonger. And Killmonger's like, or whatever. Like Killmonger's like, nah, like I'm not doing no more of that one-on-one stuff. Like, bro, send the army out, send everything. Like,
it's like a realistic villain.
Yeah, he's like, bro, I already beat this dude. I'm done. Like, let's run it up. So, but
all right,
good list
at number 1. Good list. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree. I can guarantee I'm gonna get some hate for putting Darth Vader at number 12, but
well, I mean, neither of us have Voldemort on our list.
Voldemort's not it.
He's good. Nah, I do like Voldemort for sure.
I just don't think he's like.
I can't put him above any of these people.
I can't either. I mean, the best thing about Voldemort is like he has that. He literally put the fear in everybody.
Yeah.
But like,
and he's relentless. Like he'll kill anybody, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't feeling him.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously didn't either. So, but yeah, definitely let us know. like some of your guys' favorite villains. I would love to see, especially if there's ones we missed, or if there's ones that are lower on our list that you guys have like in your top 3, like let us know. I would love to
Yeah,
see those. So,
absolutely.
but we're gonna move it right into Flashpoint. Keep in mind, I haven't done my punishment yet, but by the time we drop this video,
Yeah, he'll have done it.
I'll have done it. So I'm gonna eat something disgustingly terrible.
So the punishment for this one, I guess we didn't really discuss.
No, we didn't.
I guess it's either gonna be eat something bad or do a TikTok dance. If you guys don't decide, we'll decide.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want us to do a certain punishment. Like, really, anything's up for grabs. If you
Yeah.
guys don't say anything, we're either gonna do one of us is gonna do another TikTok dance or eat something disgusting and make a video about it. So we'll see what happens. But by the time this drops, I'll have eaten something terrible. I can only imagine what he's gonna cook up. It's probably gonna be disgusting, and I'm nervous. But whatever. What can you do?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna take it into Flashpoint here, guys. We're gonna go through our 10-question trivia. Actually, let me look at this because
Okay, so I'll explain the rules again just
yeah,
for everyone.
explain it.
10 questions. We'll both take turns asking. You'll have 90 seconds to do it. Rules are you only get one guess per question.
Mhm.
And then if you pass, I'll come back to it if there's time at the end. And that's pretty much how that works. And then obviously 1 point for every question you get right. Whoever gets the most points wins. Whoever loses will have to do the punishment.
Yep.
I'll let you start this
You
one.
want me to read first?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me get the timer.
You can start your own timer if you want.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Are you ready to read?
I'm born ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
The snap was when Thanos wiped out half of humanity. What is the phrase for when everyone returns? The phrase for when people return.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Skip if you have to.
Pass.
Pass. In Far From Home, where does Peter's class visit first?
France. I don't
No.
know. Okay.
What's Green Goblin's real name?
Harry. Oh, no. Doesn't count.
No, you're good.
Oh my gosh.
You need to come back to it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, pass.
What's Doc Ock's real name?
Octavius?
Close. I'll give you half if you can't remember the rest.
Okay.
House Bolton is portrayed by this symbol on their flags. What are they known for? It's their symbol.
Stags.
No.
Freak.
Grey Worm commands this army. Grey Worm.
Oh, the Unsullied.
Yeah. Tony Stark's daughter's name.
Pass.
Infinity War, what language class does Thor say he took on Asgard?
Groot.
Who voices Dormammu in Doctor Strange?
What? Go back to one of these other ones. Or is that?
I don't think was
Pass,
that 10?
pass.
Who's the villain from Thor: Love and Thunder?
Gore the God Butcher.
We'll give it to you.
I did.
I honestly wrote down too many. I think because I thought maybe some of my turn that off. I
Okay,
thought maybe
well,
I may have messed up, but
I really didn't count. I just thought it was towards
it's all
the end
good.
there.
I mean, I don't care. I gave you opportunities. I don't know how many you got.
Probably like 2.
Let me go through them. At least we'll see which ones you got. The snap was when Thanos
me
wiped
think.
out half of humanity. What is the
Um,
phrase for the eventual return of half the universe?
I don't know. What
The
is
blip.
it? The blip.
And Far From Home, where does Peter's class visit first? Venice, Italy.
Ah, yeah, that was gonna be impossible.
What's the Green Goblin's name?
Oh my God, I should know this. It's
Not Harry Osborn,
yeah,
but
it's
if something's not different, it's
the same. Just tell me.
Norman Osborn.
Norman. Ah, yeah, I was thinking like William.
Doc Ock's full name, you said Octavius. It's Otto Octavius.
Otto
Dr.
Octavius.
Otto Octavius.
Gosh.
House Bolton is portrayed by a flayed man on their flags.
Yeah, this was tough.
Sort of. Tony
Yeah.
Stark's daughter name? Morgan.
Morgan. I knew it started with an M.
In Infinity War, he took Groot. Who voices Dormammu in Doctor Strange? Benedict Cumberbatch.
No way. He
Yeah.
does both?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's so weird. That's so weird. I should have just taken a guess on that.
Yeah, and Gore the God Butcher for the last one. So you got
Like-
1, 2, 3,
And a half.
a half. Yeah, you got 3.5.
I may still beat you.
Yeah, you said yours were terribly hard. So
They're not that hard. They just take some thinking. Man, that was tough. Good trivia though. Good
Yeah.
trivia.
That
All
was a good
right.
one.
All right, I'll let you start your clock then.
Thank you.
Yep. It's gonna be tough. Let me think about this is gonna be so hard. All
For
right.
me?
Probably.
You're saying
Okay.
it so hard like it's gonna be hard for you, and I'm the one who has to answer these.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. All right, here we go.
All right, name 3 teams that haven't won a Super Bowl.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
Uh,
There's like 10.
oh man. Pass. I'll come back to that one.
Okay. Who, when killed, also kills Lord Beerus?
When killed,
Yeah, when they die, Lord Beerus also dies.
Whis.
No.
Yes, it's his angel.
No.
Oh no, it's Supreme Kai of
Yeah.
his universe.
What are the
Shit.
3 evolutions of Pikachu?
Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu.
Nice. Which actor voiced Detective Pikachu?
Pass.
What is Black Panther's name?
T'Challa.
Nice. Name all 6 Infinity Stones.
Power, mind, reality, space, time, mind.
I forget which one you did.
I
think
got
you got
him.
it. Okay, what is the name of the character that gets referred to as Reek in Game of Thrones?
Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah.
I had that same question. I had to erase it.
I should have got rid of it. What is the name of Piccolo's home planet?
Namek.
Damn. Who cures Ser Jorah in Game of Thrones?
Sammy.
I'll give you half a point.
Okay.
What is the name of the black goo that comes from space that makes venom?
Oh. Pass.
Name 3 teams that haven't won a Super Bowl.
Friggin' your
Just
mom.
take a guess. Just take a guess.
I choked. I had that though.
I think you beat me.
Oh, I definitely beat you, bro. I was cooking right there.
Mm.
Hold on. Let him cook.
All right, let's see. You got that one right. I'll go through.
What
them.
are what other teams? I mean, there's the Bengals.
I'll tell you all of them.
Yeah.
You ready? Because I wrote them all down.
Yeah.
Browns, Texans, Chargers, Jaguars, Bengals, Bills, Titans, Cardinals, Vikings, Lions, Falcons, Panthers.
Yeah. I
There's
was
a
gonna say
lot.
Panthers too. I thought the Panthers beat the Patriots. That was like my second guess right at the break, and then it slowed me down. But whatever.
Yeah. All right.
It was smart to
Supreme
pass.
Kai, you knew that.
I
You
know.
just choked.
I know.
You said Weiss.
I know.
Okay, you got the Pikachu one. Which actor voiced Detective Pikachu? Have you even seen the movie?
No.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Ah.
Got T'Challa. Name all 6 Infinity Stones. We'll say you got that
I
one.
did get it.
We'll look back at the video.
Power, space.
I mean, I know you know it. I just don't know if you named all of them
I
right.
definitely named it. We're gonna go back in the video and check. Someone comment if I got it or not. Or
Okay.
maybe did I choke? I'm pretty sure I said power, space,
I just feel like you already
Time.
had said mind.
mind. Wait, power, space, time, mind, soul. I don't know. I don't think I said soul actually.
You may have not said soul. Because I think you did say reality. That's the other one you're missing right then.
Shoot. I honestly feel like I didn't get it now. I'm thinking about it. I have no idea.
We'll look back and confirm. But right now, we'll say, I think that was the 3rd.
Just don't count. I got that point.
Okay. What is the name of Piccolo's home planet? You got that. Character gets referred to as Reek. There it goes. You got half a point for this one. Samuel Tarly.
I did say Sam. At least I knew. I
Yeah.
remembered.
And then, do you remember the name of the black goo that comes from space?
Don't remind me.
Symbiote.
Mm.
Symbiote.
Oh yeah. My mind went somewhere else.
Oh, well, I think you beat me there. That's okay.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, yours were hard. Yours were way harder than mine.
They weren't really that hard.
Mine were so easy. I gave you some softballs because I literally thought it was going to be so hard in the beginning.
Which ones did you think were so hard?
Well, really, I thought the first one was going to stump you, but you just passed on it right away.
Smart. Strategy.
Yeah, I just thought some
I
of
mean,
them...
you asked me like Piccolo's home planet, name of Reek's character. Like that's too like automatic.
We were also thinking about it. I thought Theon Greyjoy was going to take a second.
No, I would have got that instantly. I had what's Theon Greyjoy's like nickname, and you would have got that instantly. But we started talking about it. Like, well, that's what reminded me of
I
Ramsey.
said it, I'm like, oh, gosh. That's reminded you of Ramsey?
Yeah, I had like.
Ramsey was one of the first people I thought of.
I don't know why.
He has to be
I
on
like
the
blanked
list.
on Game of Thrones ones, but either way.
All right, well.
Good list.
Yeah, good list.
Good time.
Yeah.
Fun time. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I'm C. That's P. And we'll catch you guys on the next podcast.
See you guys next time. The boy who lived come to die. Abracadabra!